This episode of Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Phil Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks Podcast.
Yeah, whatever. Ben Reilly, Spider-Man's clone. He's the guy. He's got a sweatshirt. Yeah, that's how you know he's different. And he's a blonde hair.
That's right, kids. It's time for another sausage fest. Or, as I coined it, Lilith really likes it. It's the Dad Club. Welcome back to the Ultimate Spider-Cast. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, well, Matt Kona cannot be here. He's still waiting for that baby, but down in the Upside Down in Australia, joining us once a month. It is.
Hey everyone, it's Ray. Always glad to be here. I'm pimping my Quantum Zone shirt. I love it. You know, great to be back in amongst the Capes and Lunatics.
Hey, wait till about late June, early July, man. You're gonna get a Quantum Zone annual. So.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, because of Guardians, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna wait for like the first 3 issues to come out. Yeah, then do a Quantum Zone. Yeah, I was talking to the boys. We're saying maybe at least once a year we'll check in. You know, see what's going on.
Oh, you have to. Got to give Wendell the love.
Exactly, especially if he shows up in like the MCU.
Yes,
oh boy. Russell's awake. Spider Pimps.
Yes.
The Adventures of Sausage Man and Bun Boy. I'm not Bun Boy. Screw you. And who's this? The Web-Handed Bandits? I don't know who that is. You people need to give access so I can see your names.
Maybe they want to remain anonymous.
I was going to say, at least I know it's not you.
It's good to have you, Russell, here. I was just chatting with Russell a little bit earlier before the show.
Oh, yeah?
He's looking forward to his first omnibus. So yeah, good on you, Russell. It's a really nice one. It's Lilith will appreciate it. It's a Masters of the Universe one.
Oh yeah.
So Russell will be diving into that.
Oh, I can't show someone saying F off. Okay, Chad, I know that's you. Okay. That's
Chad.
He's a quantum maniac. Russell. Duking it out in the chat room. But yeah, no, good on you, Russell. Every boy remembers his first omnibus.
The firmness of it.
Whoa!
You know, the feel of it.
Open that thing up.
Oh, hey. That's shocking.
Speaking of, since you're a subscriber to our Patreon, did you listen to me and Lilith in our first uncensored Wade's World?
Not yet, but it is on my queue catcher or whatever you call it. It's on the queue for sure. I can't wait. I mean, you guys pretty much still stretch the boundary, so to speak. Anyway, but I'm looking forward to this.
There's no boundary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, it should be good. I miss Wade's World. But you've got way too many shows here, Phil. So I guess you got to choose, right? But yeah, I'm of the OG Quantum Zone and Wade's World. Enjoy that. So, but I love your other stuff as well, of course. It's just.
So I'm guessing for the omnibus, yeah, Chad says so thick in that binding. Russell. I listened to it, Ray didn't. Ha ha ha. Russell.
You got me.
I love how there's like so much activity, like on a 7:30 on a Sunday morning, at least US.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, I know.
Encouraging.
I think they both work like nights, so. So those two are all revved up and ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, Matt couldn't be with us. He's still on baby watch. Yeah,
Best of luck, Matt. Well, best wishes, Matt and Yale and little one.
Yeah, the due date was Tuesday and it's Sunday, and this still hasn't. I mean, I know, like I said, I know Luca was a week late. I don't know about today, but
oh no, he was. I think he was a little bit early. I can't remember. I mean, not great, like a few days or something early. But geez, time's flown, hasn't it? It seemed like only yesterday that we heard the news about Maddie becoming a papa.
Well, it seems like I think they might have waited a while before they announced it. So.
Oh yeah, but still, I mean, yeah.
So yeah, he's waiting. So yeah, so probably we already planned probably Tuesday night when we record the Green Lantern podcast. It's probably just gonna be me and Will.
Oh yeah, I'm sure until
I bet you that baby's coming. Yeah, it's probably by Tuesday or what. You know, they're probably gonna induce her at some point because I know we were like a week late, and they were like, oh yeah, if he's not here by morning, we're gonna induce you. And then he showed up that night. So
yeah, probably heard him. Yeah.
All right. Night shift unite.
No, yeah.
Hey, Ray's favorite.
Night shift. Yeah. What is it? The Shroud. I'm still a fan of the Shroud. I think it's great. Not that. What's the guy? TikTok? Not him. He's a.
Was it that? Yeah.
Yeah, not him though. Yeah, Wolf by Night. Yeah. The Needle. Remember reading him in Spider-Woman? He was actually really freaky in Spider-Woman. I liked the way he was portrayed there, but he's kind of like a. Sorry?
I was sorry. I was going to say there was a lot of Spider-Woman villains in there. The Brothers Grimm, although there was like a new version. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Grunwald. I mean, our Lord and Savior. You know, hands all over those characters. But the Needle was weird because I think he worked so well in that solo issue of Spider-Woman because he was creepy, it was kind of horror. But then if you throw him into like Night Shift, a team, he kind of loses that enigma kind of thing. That Anyway,
Russell said the Shroud is almost literally.
Russell, everything's apparently the Shadow. Come on,
the Shroud, the Shadow.
Yeah. I know, to be fair though, the Shadow. To be fair, the Shadow has influenced plenty. So, fair enough.
I was gonna say, yeah, and the Shadow probably ripped everything off from Zorro. Okay.
Robin Hood.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Should we get to these?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Look, Phil, I know we don't say it enough, but really do look forward to returning to the journey that is Ben Reilly.
Yes.
So many different things. Like I think from the last episode we mentioned that was the end of the Jackal, right? Where you were mentioning that's the end for him for a while, or for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think we see him in the anymore in this Clone Saga unless it's like a flashback or something. Yeah.
So for such a big villain for that to be it. For me, going into this, it was kind of like, uncharted territory, so to speak. It's like, okay, how are they going to kind of put this forward? And I really enjoyed the way that they integrated Seward Trainer in it and all that. But it's just interesting to not have the Jackal in it. That's all. But yeah, it's cool. We should dive into it.
Yeah, this story's a little weird. I mean, it's not bad, but it's weird because it's like the first and last parts are kind of their own thing, and then those two middle books are kind of like a story. So it's like, I mean, they'll have Exiled on the cover, but it's like you get a couple different stories in here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're distinctly different, aren't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yes, it starts in Web of Spider-Man 128 from September 1995. We got Tom DeFalco and Todd DeZago as writers, Stephen Butler pencils, Randy Emberlin inker, Kevin Tinsley and Malibu Color as colorists, letterer Steve Dutrow, editor Eric Fiend and Danny Fingeroff. So like there's a lot of hands in this one.
Yeah, there is. But the one thing again that is a shining light, you can't deny the art. I mean, Stephen Butler's work in this. I remember reading this, going, "Gosh, this is the first couple of pages. Whatever the story is and whatever the outcome is, I'm enjoying this art." So there's got that working for it.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at some of the notes here, see if anything was worthy of bringing up. But all right, so we'll get to the synopsis for Who Will Wear the Webs. The Black Cat swings across New York City. Her mind is on her longtime friend Peter Parker and all the difficulties he has had of late. She thinks back to how she learned the truth. Shortly after Peter was arrested for murder, she paid him a visit at Rikers Island and was surprised when Peter acted as though he didn't know who she was. It wasn't until she went to see Peter's wife, Mary Jane, that she learned the truth. Mary Jane told Felicia about the return of Ben Reilly, her pregnancy, and the revelation that the man everyone thought was the real Peter Parker was actually a clone. The idea that the man she once loved wasn't even a real human bothers Felicia, and she feels depressed thinking about it. That's when she is confronted by the creature known as Despair, who offers to relieve her and all those she cares for of the despair that they are all feeling.
Yep.
I mean, I get that he's like, one of them's a copy of the other, but it's just like, oh, he's not a real man. It's like, really?
Yeah. I found his introduction really weird anyway. The fact that it's almost it's not even your traditional backdoor introduction in the fact that, hang on, in the fact that apparently he'd fought Ben Reilly before, but that was all off panel. That was, and that's how they're so well acquainted. But like, just believe us that they met before. That's what they're trying to tell us.
That first story we read where him and Peter first meet back up. Yeah, there was another one. There was like one of the villains in the thing. They're like, oh yeah, here's some new villain that Ben Reilly met. Maybe we'll tell you about it one day. I don't think they ever even bring that villain back up, let alone tell you the story. So it's like, that's what we need. I've been trying championing that for years. I'm like, we need some kind of like Untold Tales of Ben Reilly book. Yeah,
there's plenty to really, I guess, plunder in that regards. And again, Butler does a really good job for Despair anyway. I mean, he looks pretty cool. So, a lot better than some. If I'm to reference what I'm wearing with the Quantum Zone, there are some, less than average villains in the Quasar run that should really be left alone. But this one, Despair looks pretty cool. So, yeah.
Less than stellar villains. Who are you talking about?
Angler. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I think that like for that light, we're talking about like a behind the scenes, history of Ben Reilly. I think that's what they were gonna do with that. Remember that 3-issue Spider-Man: The Lost Years?
Yep.
I think that was supposed to keep going, but
okay.
Once they made the final decision, and they decided to turn things around eventually, they're like, no, we're going to bring Peter's going to be the real one again. It's there.
Okay.
Canceled that.
Okay, because, that would have made sense because the Lost Years really did expand on, that aspect that you didn't hear about. So, I was thinking about that when you asked originally. That would have been a perfect place for it. But, wow. So that would have been it.
Russell, I think the Peter that died in the end of the Spider-Verse was reference to Ben Reilly. That's what I always thought because he was like blonde and stuff.
Because
we'll get there. He'll dye his hair.
Well, he's had some inconsistencies in coloring anyway.
Oh, true.
Some of the issues, don't know whether that's meant to be a foreshadowing. But
how hard is it? How hard is it to draw him? He's supposed to look exactly like Peter.
Yeah, exactly. The specifications are right there.
Oh, wow. At that moment, Peter Parker and Ben Reilly pay their respects at the grave of Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Now that he knows that he is a clone, Peter Parker feels strange mourning the death of Uncle
Ben as he never met the man. Ben can relate as he felt the same way when he thought he was the clone. As they discuss how to divide up their belongings, they both notice that someone has been following them. The pair then walks off, luring their pursuer into a nearby alleyway. When their stalker follows after them, he finds no trace of the pair. This is because Peter and Ben have slipped up to the rooftops above to change into Spider-Man and the Scarlet Spider. The pair then follows their shadow. As it turns out, this man is Paul Proust of Cat's Eye Investigations. He contacts his colleague, Loop, and tells them that he lost track of Parker and the man they think is his brother. That's when Spider-Man and the Scarlet Spider come bursting into the office and demand to know why Proust was following them. Meanwhile, Mary Jane gets a call from an old friend named Rolf. She is delighted to hear from him after so many years, and after hearing his offer, agrees to meet as soon as possible. Yeah, I love that. They're like, oh yeah, Parker, and I saw Parker, and some guy, I guess, is his brother. They look really alike.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Again, like around here, once they don the costumes, for me, like brilliant artwork. Like Spider-Man has never looked better, and Scarlet Spider looks just really cool with a hoodie and stuff. So yeah, really cool. But yeah, a little bit of a kind of bait and switch a little with the guy Paul. Like he's not even old. Like he's got this fake old man's mustache and beard. Takes that off. But yeah, they catch on to him. And I can't remember, like, because it wasn't too long ago that I read these, but so Mary Jane, so she's set up something to meet up with someone. Was that Rolf?
That Rolf. I believe this is the one. I think he's a fashion designer or something, because I think she's gonna start like modeling like maternity clothes and stuff. And
okay, cool. What happened to that guy that was the Bruce? Was meant to be like Bruce.
I mean, they mentioned him.
That was a while ago. That was in the 80s, right?
Like during the wedding, and like I don't know if they mentioned him once or twice after, but yeah, nothing really came of that, especially once creators changed and stuff. Of course you'd bring up Bruce, Ray. Come on.
I love Batman.
I meant Bruce Banner. What are you talking about?
Oh, sure.
I love Batman.
I don't even remember saying that.
That's what we did a Batman episode. You was like 2 or 3 minutes in, and you were just like,
I love Batman.
Damn.
One of the
Entrapment.
One of the most requested drops now.
I love Batman.
Just so much vigor in it as well. I don't understand.
Although you put vigor into a lot of your stuff, man.
Sausage.
Oh no! Don't get Russell started.
I know. Sausage gets them excited. All right, back at Cat's Eye Investigations, Paul Proust explains that the Black Cat has gone missing, and that she had been tracking Peter Parker in hopes of that Paul had been tracking Peter Parker in the hopes of getting into contact with Spider-Man. Hearing this, the wall crawler vows to find Felicia, and he and the Scarlet Spider head off to look for her. Along the way, Ben is filled in on Spider-Man's past relationship with the Black Cat. Meanwhile, Despair is using his powers to torment Felicia with images of Spider-Man, convincing her that the wall crawler is responsible for all the misery in her life. Meanwhile, at that moment, Mary Jane meets with Rolf and Tom Privater. The two men are promoting a new line of maternity clothing, asking Mary Jane if she is interested in being their model. At that same moment, the two spiders continue their search for the Black Cat when suddenly their spider senses begin going off. That's when they are ambushed by the Black Cat, who is now under Despair's control. Yeah, that's funny. I love that. It's like, they're swinging around both. It's immediately both spider senses start going off.
It's ting-a-ling.
And you get a crazed cat as well. So I mean, this is always cool. It didn't really. I don't think for me it ever elevated to any sense of like real kind of tension as in action, because you got two Spider folks battling Black Cat, and she's formidable, but you know she's against two Spider people. But it was I guess it was fun just to see how she kind of would get out of it. That's what rather than the actual fight itself.
Wait, is this a shots fired? Russell said Moon Knight lives a clone saga every day of his life.
What does that mean?
That's the multiple personalities.
Oh yeah.
I did like that meme or whatever in the ITK fan group. You know, someone put up. It's like, you know, right now some of those people are like, "What's a what's a Moon Knight? Oh, who ever heard of a Moon Knight?" And in 1 year, all those people after they watch the Disney Plus series are going to be like, "I love the Moon Knight."
No, it's like for as long as I can remember, I've been a Moon Knight fan. It's so funny.
Oh. Okay. Ray just disappeared off my radar. Okay. What did you do, Russell? See if we get Ray back. See? Did we anger Conchu? Mentioning the moon. See, kids, he got really excited. We mentioned the Moon Knight. Ray Russell. He probably hit the button, knocked himself off. Hopefully he just knocked himself off and didn't like lose internet or something. The charcoaler got him. See, yeah, I know. Messaging him now saying, "You there? What happened?" Neither that or he is a little under the weather. He might, unless he just like passed out and like his head hit the keyboard or something. Yep, he says he's coming back. Browser crashed. Oh, that Australian Wi-Fi. Darn drop bears, man. Get that Wi-Fi. It's so funny. It's just like any other week. There's three. It's me, him, and Matt, and the internet's fine. But meanwhile, it's just me and him in the area. Getting too excited talking Moon Knight.
Oh, geez. No, that wasn't a Ray error. I didn't unplug anything, which is not uncommon. Sorry about that. It's once every blue moon, no pun intended. The browser will just Chrome for some reason. I've got so many bugs in this computer, it will just crash. So I was, every time I use it, it's a hope that it doesn't crash. This is the only time so far. But apologies for that.
I was going to say drop bears, but all those bugs in your computer. Quit downloading that music, Ray.
The wallpaper. Yeah, gosh. Anyway, what were we talking about? Geez.
Well, we were talking about Moon Knight, but yeah.
The Clone Saga.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's crazy. It's kind of like that. Look, I have to laugh at that as well because it's kind of like that with me in Invincible. Not that I'm saying that I'm the best fan now, but I'm wholeheartedly jumping on the bandwagon after watching that TV show. Really awesome. So you've seen. I mean, we've chatted online. I'm pretty keen to read those 140 odd issues now. So anyway, slight tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, like I said, those omnibuses are great.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, I forget what the price was, but I think it's for the price and for the amount of issues you're getting, your best bet. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord. Russell's calling out his drop. The computer is wild. Okay.
Wild like an animal.
It's crazy.
We got
gremlins.
Yes, it's wild. Yeah.
Wild like an animal.
And did you hear the other Russell drop?
Where's the Joker nuggets?
Yeah, I did hear that one. The Joker nuggets. I love it. Any reference to nuggets?
Whoa. Oh yeah, you are correct, Russell. The same fake Moon Knight fans are the ones who didn't know there was a She-Hulk.
I know. Again, sorry, a little slight tangent. I saw that meme or whatever we call it on Facebook where people have speculated Hulk plus Black Widow equals She-Hulk. It's like, no. Yeah. Anyway, you gotta love it.
Oh, did you ever hear a Knoll drop? I have a Knoll drop now.
Do you have a Knoll drop? Okay.
Does boobs scare me?
Yes. That's awesome.
I told him the other day. I'm like, yeah, I got to drop you now. He's like, what episode? Where? He's like, so excited.
In his his very deep voice, those boobs scare me.
I can't believe we have 20 people who's saying that same thing. All right, so let's get back to this. Yeah, Black Cat's under Despair's control. She is joined by a group of men in similar costumes. While the Scarlet Spider deals with the Black Cat's minions, Spider-Man tries to fend off Felicia's attacks. She accuses Peter of lying to her and then slashes him open. Spider-Man gives up fighting and collapses to the ground, apologizing to her. The Scarlet Spider defeats the attackers and is surprised when they all disappear in puffs of smoke. The Spider suddenly realizes who he is dealing with and orders Despair to show himself. Trying to attack Despair, the Scarlet Spider's blows have no effect on the demon. That's when he notices the Black Cat is preparing to land a killing blow and tells her to stop. He manages to convince her that her emotions are being manipulated by Despair. This causes both Felicia and Spider-Man to snap out of Despair's control, and the three heroes attack the demon in tandem. Realizing that he has lost this battle, Despair vanishes. In the aftermath of the battle, the Black Cat tells Peter that despite the revelation that he is a clone, this doesn't change who he is and what he means to her. After Felicia leaves, Peter decides that Ben is the one who truly deserves to be Spider-Man. Although Ben is flattered, he refuses the offer, pointing out that for the past 5 years, Peter has proven that he is worthy of the webs. Besides the point, Ben has decided that he likes being the Scarlet Spider. As he swings away, Ben tells Peter that he earned the life that he has and he should enjoy it. Peter returns home to Mary Jane, and the two discover that they both want to stay in New York. When they both realize that the fact that Peter being a clone has no impact on their marriage or coming family, the couple kiss. While at that moment, Ben Reilly has packed up his few belongings and decides to say goodbye to New York City so he can start a brand new life somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big thing because essentially, and Ben reflects upon it anyway towards the end, and I think in subsequent issues, that he's been given this thing on a platter. Like, it's like, you won the jackpot. Like, you aren't the clone. Like, this is your life by right. So all your memories, they're yours, you know? But he does the absolutely selfless thing. You can kind of see it on both ways as well. It's like, well, Peter, he built up this relationship, and, like, you know, the past 5 years at least, he built up this life. So it would be bad of Ben to take it over. You know, so it's such a difficult decision, but I think this is such a big thing here, and I think it was done very well. Again, in the art, there was like that 9-panel page where they're just talking to each other, and it's all about the masks and handing the masks over. And I just like it how at the end, like, he just reverses it, and Ben puts on the Scarlet Spider one, and that's the big takeaway for this. But yeah, it's I would not want to be in Ben's position here, you know, because it's a lose-lose. You know, if he does, like, take it, like, say, okay, well, then he'd feel bad for taking over Peter Parker's life, like the clone Peter Parker's life. But what he's done now as well, he's going to feel bad as well, going, well, I had this opportunity and I let it go.
Well, like he says, he's like, oh, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. And two, it's like, it's the logistics of that. I mean, Mary Jane's not going to go off with Ben. So if Ben takes back Peter Parker's life, it's like Peter and Mary Jane are going to have to basically probably leave, like, take on some assumed identities or something, you know.
But I mean, this is all just speculation as well, but I do feel that Mary Jane did get along with Ben quite well. Like, there was that run after she got, you know, a bit uncomfortable with him being a clone and all that. She and Ben got on really well, and essentially he's the same guy, right? to Peter Parker.
I guess, but yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
haven't had those experiences the last 5 years. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I get you're the real Peter. I guess I got to marry you now. You know, it's like,
Yeah, I know it's a big ask.
I think Ben might have wished for that, but yeah, that's not.
Yeah. But yeah, big things here. So like these last few pages and the decision and just when Peter Parker and Mary Jane were kissing and making up, I know that that this is the life that they shared over the years and stuff, but I just couldn't help but think of the erratic behavior that Peter had shown Mary Jane. Like he backhanded her across the room like it not that long ago in one of those arcs. But he was under obviously a lot of, I don't know, stress. I don't know if you can actually even justify it with that, but yeah, anyway.
I mean, we're gonna get a story. I think it might be next month that we're kind of gonna address some of that. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh my lord. He's saying, yeah, they should make Ben a second mentor to Miles or Gwen or Silk, a Uncle Ben. Yeah, I mean, when they took that marriage, I'm like, they want a single Spider-Man. Just have Ben Reilly be that single Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's basically Peter. Yeah, you could have a single Peter and a married Peter.
Yeah. Definitely a Miles mentor.
Oh yeah. Pitch, make Ben the symbiote Spidey. Marvel can have their cake and eat it too.
Oh yeah, good idea. They have both uniforms just like floating around. But I do like the Scarlet Spider.
I know. Yeah, you give him
identity.
You give him the black suit. Can you really call him the Scarlet Spider?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, overall, this issue I think I really enjoyed it because again, big props to the art. Geez, Black Cat has never looked so good, Phil.
I was gonna say, Ray enjoyed the art, kids.
That first page, what the okay. But it's always good to have Black Cat in there, and as well, and like she, albeit was manipulated, like her kind of tenuous sightings on good and evil is always fun to watch. Despair, look, he's a little bit of a throwaway, but he does look interesting. And of course, that the big talk at the end of Ben deciding to keep his Scarlet Spider identity made this a big issue. I think it's probably the most. I think I might prove myself wrong, but it's probably the most important issue out of this Exiled 4-parter. Yeah,
I mean. Yeah, I haven't read a ton with Despair, but I do remember there was like a story in the 90s a little earlier than this. Like Despair teamed up with Nightmare and they were like tormenting like the Grey Hulk and Betty Banner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think it's like Hulk 360. So yeah.
Cool.
It was like right after the Vegas stuff. I think it was like the first
really?
right
okay.
After. Yeah.
Okay, I should check that out. I think that's in the Omni. I've got an Omni of it, so
I didn't look, but it might be even on Marvel Unlimited too. Yeah, so
yeah. Oh, nice. But what did you think of this issue, Phil, as well?
Again, yeah, you're right. It's I thought it was really good, and the art, it's nice art, great art. I mean, it's like the some of the better side of 90s art.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, yeah, Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, I don't think have looked better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'd love to get, the original artwork if I ever had enough money of some of these shots. Just because the inking and the art is just really nice.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I like that they're actually like having like Mary Jane's show now because it's all.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm glad it's not like they didn't go with like 90s comics. She didn't stay 110 pounds until the day she had that baby.
Still in a bikini. Just kind of.
Yeah, it's actually realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember reading this new. Yeah, Ben Reilly leaves, and it's like, oh wait, what's that? What's Ben doing now? What's Ben gonna do now?
Yeah. Hopefully, spring into another. His own title series, but
well, you shall have to see. All right, so should we get to the next one?
Yeah, amazing, right? Yeah,
yep, amazing. What is it? 405. Here, I'm gonna pull that up. Yeah, amazing Spider-Man 405. I mean, that Web of Spider-Man issue was good, but of course, I think that's a Bagley cover. The cover to 405, man. I love that cover.
That is a good cover. Like, not only just the art, but I don't know. It's always what I liked about Cardiac. I like the color combo of just blue and white.
Yeah,
I don't know. So that electricity kind of thing really works for me.
Oh yeah, just the electricity and those wires and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 405 again, September 1995. Of course, Mark Bagley, cover artist. Writer J.M. DeMatteis and Todd DeZago. Penciler Derek Robertson. Inker Larry Maltstead. Colorist Bob Sharon. Letterer Bill Oakley. Editor Danny Fingeroth. So I'm assuming this must be, in some part, Todd DeZago's story, because it seems like, he's been the second writer on these first two issues at least. So
yeah. And I didn't realize what you say, Derek Robertson for art. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The title, The Worth of a Man. So part 2, Ben Reilly has decided to leave New York City. However, this time around it proves more difficult than the last time. Now, however, he has learned that he is the real man, and the person who has been calling himself Peter Parker for the past 5 years is really the clone. He finds it more difficult to leave. He is conflicted now, as he resented Peter Parker for the life he lived for 5 years. Although the life he wanted is not the same as Peter's, Ben at least wanted some kind of life and a place to call home. Ben has been speeding because he's upset and ends up skidding on the wet pavement and crashes his bike.
No helmet as well.
I know. Leaping to safety, Ben decides he needs to get away and clear his head. Up on the rooftops, Ben bellows out about how unfair this all is, as New York is his city, his home. But yeah,
it's true. That's true as well. Like, he felt almost compelled to go away from here because you got to get away from the Spider-Man life and stuff. But imagine that, being asked to leave what you think is your home. Like,
Oh yeah,
that's pretty bad. So good on him coming back.
But I mean, it is kind of weird too, because it's like, I don't know, so it's part of you would kind of want to leave, because it's like you really can't go up to anyone you ever knew and be like, oh yeah, Peter Parker's friends, because it's like,
you
can't be blowing their Peter's secret and stuff. So it's like,
that's true. Yeah, it would make it complicated. Yeah,
very very complicated.
Well, hence the dyeing the hair, and you should grow a beard and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're gonna get there. Yeah, he died blonde. Yeah, it's Peter's cousin. Yes. He's like Peter's identical cousin. Okay.
Mike Murdoch. Is that his name?
Yeah. What? Yeah. He says Ben Reilly. No, he keeps calling himself Ben Reilly. So it's like he's Peter's identical cousin, but he's from Aunt May's side of the family. Does that from Aunt May, who's his aunt through marriage?
Yeah, that's right. That works. Unless there's some really saucy stuff happening in the family lineage there. So.
Changing into the Scarlet Spider, Ben web slings through the city, trying to convince himself that he is doing it one last time before leaving the city. He subconsciously swings toward the brownstone owned by Peter Parker and his wife Mary Jane. Seeing them sleeping peacefully makes Ben come to the conclusion that this is Peter's city and his world. Raleigh decides that for Peter to have a normal life with his wife and the coming baby, he needs to leave. Russell. Aunt May's a fan of tentacles.
Oh, jeez, Russell, come on.
Russell, where did you learn this nonsense?
I don't think those are tentacles.
After Ben web slings away, Peter Parker wakes up from a nightmare. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember anything about it, but knows that he needs to remember something important. Still, he is glad that he didn't wake up Mary Jane. Watching her sleep, he thinks to himself how much he loves her and how he will never let anything hurt her. Meanwhile, the Scarlet Spider has called his friend Seward Trainer and gets permission to spend time in his cabin in Vermont. Alone in the cabin with a fire going, Ben realizes that this is just the thing he needed. He then begins to wonder where he is going with his life from here. Whenever he goes next, Ben thinks it will be something vastly different from where he was 4 years prior. We're going to get the flashback now because it's in Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, wait. Does Ray say that a lot? Russell, I'm trying to get a eerie me out of Ray.
Really? I didn't realize.
I don't. Maybe I've never noticed, but all right. So here's the.
I'm gonna say holy macaroni from now on. Holy macaroni.
Oh my. All right. So back then, Ben Riley walked into the town of Rachel, Vermont in the pouring rain. His thoughts matching the weather around him. Thinking himself to be a clone at that time, Ben Riley was seeking out Seward Trainer, a noted scientist, hoping that he could use Trainer's resources to learn more about himself. Ben then arrived at the Millway's Inn, and he tried to get a room for the night. Unfortunately, he is $12 short of the cost, and an innkeeper refuses to give him a room. Before Ben can lose his temper, a man offers to give him the difference. When Riley refuses the charity, the man assures Ben that he will be paid back because he seems like an honorable man. Although he didn't know it at the time, this was the first time that Ben met Seward Trainer. Then when they flash back to now.
Yeah.
Oh no, Russell, you can send in a voicemail. Just let me know. Now, Ben's thoughts are interrupted by the phone ringing. When he answers it, Seward is on the other end of the line. He tells Ben to get out of the cabin right away. With his spider sense going off the scale, Ben leaps out of a nearby window just moments before the cabin explodes. Recovering from the blast, Ben realizes that this wasn't an attack on Spider-Man or the Scarlet Spider, but his friend Seward Trainer. Mm-hmm. Putting on his mask, Ben Riley vows to track down whoever is responsible and make them pay. Returning to New York, the Scarlet Spider finds Seward Trainer's lab in ruins. Finding an old photo of himself and Seward, Ben vows to find his friend because he owes him so much. And the flashback, it was the following morning at the Millway Inn. A feverish Ben Riley comes downstairs and demands something to eat and drink. When the innkeeper tells him the kitchen is closed, Ben begins to lose his temper. Seeing this, Seward Trainer tries to calm Ben down. This interrupts Ben long enough that the fever gets the best of him and he passes out. When he came around moments later, Ben is told by Seward that he needs a friend. Finally accepting help, Ben took Seward's hand. And back to the present. Continuing his search of Seward's lab, his spider sense draws him towards some strange spheres. That's never good. Some strange spheres, you know.
Some metal balls. They're always bad.
The balls down the gob.
Suddenly, devices sprout mechanical arms and begin attacking him. Despite his spider sense and enhanced speed and reflexes, the Scarlet Spider is restrained by the devices. The arms become electrified and he is shocked into unconsciousness. His final thoughts are wondering where his friend Seward Trainer could be. Elsewhere, Seward is huddled in a darkened cell. The person who put him in there observes him for a moment from the doorway. With one of their mechanical arms, his captor slams shut the door on his cell.
Oh, dearie me. So we know for sure that's Hobgoblin. No.
Oh, how dare you. Russell's favorite. All right, Ray, so what did you think?
Yeah, look, I think it was important. It was actually a sensible step to actually give us a bit more about Seward Trainer because, again, there was this kind of really shallow introduction of him at the beginning. You don't know much about him, but there's apparently so much back history with him and Ben. And so we get to see it here, which is good. And I think for the most part, it's done well. You can actually see the level of gratitude and debt that Ben has towards Seward because of what he's done. What I found just a little weird, though, and correct me, Phil, if I've misinterpreted anything wrong here, is that I found like the attitude of Ben to be a little bit out of character, like of him being just really kind of argumentative and really kind of aggressive towards the innkeeper and all that. I understand why that's needed because we want to see Seward going, no, look, I trust you. You know, so the writer's done that to obviously show this level or this connection that Seward has with Ben. But I just found that was a little out of character for Ben. I mean, am I wrong in saying that, Phil? Or
I mean, I kind of get your point, but I guess they were kind of like, this is what the early days, and remember like the lost years and stuff. It's one of those depressions. Plus, they said, they even said he was sick, he had a fever, and
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I mean, I always think, would Peter Parker, would he act like that as well?
Yeah.
But again, I can understand why they did it because, again, it just furthers that bond that Seward has with him. But it's a small quibble. I mean, that's all. For the most part, I think, again, this art was really consistent, done really well. I love the toing and froing between past and present, especially once Ben made it to the cabin. With him having such long hair and stuff, I had a little laugh. Back in the past, he kind of looked a bit to me like Conan. but that's just nothing. Obviously, he's got a lot longer hair. But yeah, no, this was good. And it actually sets up the plight of Seward quite well, and it gives us that tease with the mechanical arms. So yeah.
I mean, it's funny too. I know it's different art teams, but I mean, look at Ben Reilly in the first part, and then look at him in this issue, and look at that hair, man. That hair has grown a lot in the time he walked or got on his motorcycle. Yeah.
But I think like between the two issues, and we've seen it before in some previous arcs where it has been so jarring to have such different artists. I think these two still work kind of well together, albeit the hairstyles and stuff like that. So it wasn't too distracting for this. I mean, albeit as well a crossover of titles. I mean, of course you're going to have different artists, but it is nice to have a bit of consistency.
Yeah. But yeah, the big mastermind who had, that's not the mastermind in the Clone Saga, but yeah, the person who has Seward captured, we're really not going to see them this story, but
yeah,
she is coming.
No, yes, right. I hope that's in context. Anyway,
hell, all right. So get to this next part of this, part 3 from Spider-Man number 62.
Yes.
So again, September 95. We got our buddy Howard Mackie, writer.
Yes, one of my favorite writers. Howard.
Pat Broderick, penciler. Chris Ivy, inker. Tom Poller, color. Wait. Is let me. Howard Mackie, writer. Pat Broderick, penciler. Yeah, inker Chris Ivy and Tom Palmer. Colorist Kevin Tinsley and Malibu Color. Letterer Richard Starkings. Comic Craft editor Danny Fingeroth.
Are you noticing any difference with this color separations by Malibu, Phil? It seems around this time this was a cutting edge color separation. I mean, this is the first time I've seen Malibu credited a lot now. Have you noticed any?
I mean, not a ton. I mean, it might be a little like crisper, but it's like, yeah, I think this is around the era where we're like kind of moving away from the newsprint, and we're kind of
yeah. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. Like we can't see much difference. It still looks pretty consistent. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, and the title, Look Down. So we're gonna do the flashbacks again, but yeah, all right. In the present, while staying at Seward Trainer's cabin in Vermont, the Scarlet Spider had been ambushed and taken prisoner by a mysterious individual. Restrained in a darkened room, the Spider is interrogated by his captor. They want to know who he is and what his connection is to Seward Trainer. However, the torture causes the Scarlet Spider to black out once more. As he drifts into unconsciousness, his mind drifts back to his days on the road where he first met Seward Trainer. We get the flashback. Ben Rowley wakes up in a strange bed after losing his temper at a local inn in Vermont. He is introduced to Seward Trainer, the man he has sought out. Seward took Ben home after he passed out the night before. Whoa. With Rowley now awake, Seward offers him a change of clothes and to the amenities to his cabin. And back in the present, the Scarlet Spider is snapped out of this dream by a powerful jolt of electricity. His captor demands to know what his connection is with Seward Trainer. The web slinger doesn't understand why he is being tortured by this person, especially over the man who changed his life. His captor explains that this has nothing to do with the masked hero. They only want access to Seward Trainer's research. In order to get the web slinger to talk, his captor's minions wheel out a holographic projector that shows that Seward is also a prisoner and his life is at risk as the room he is contained in is slowly filling with water. Still, the Scarlet Spider has no idea what his captor wants. Believing him, the captor then jolts the webbed hero once more, causing him to black out again. While back in New York City, Peter Parker stands on the roof of the home that he shares with his wife, Mary Jane. He's thinking about his recent trials and tribulations and how he now looks forward to the next chapter of the rest of his life. His thoughts are interrupted by his wife, Mary Jane, who wants to spend time with him. Unseen by his wife, her presence causes Peter to put on a maniacal grin and tighten his grip on the side of the rooftop, cracking it under his strength. Next month, kids. Next month.
I thought that was just drawn wrong. But yeah, wow, okay.
No, that was intentional, my friend.
Okay.
Next month. When Mary Jane feels him tense up, I bet. When she feels him tense up, Peter says he spaced out for a moment and holds her close. At that moment, high above Manhattan, the Vulture stalks the city. He has just recently regained his youth thanks to a juvenator device, but it is now fading away again. As such, he now hunts for new victims so he can maintain his newly acquired youth. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Ray, what did you think of like 90s Vulture, who's basically like a energy vampire now?
Yeah, I prefer the old school Vulture, but I like the idea. I mean, to give him actually a bit of a dynamic, I like the idea that he needs these life forces to keep him young. I mean, the Juvenator, whatever it's, however hammy it's called, it's I don't know. It makes him a little bit more interesting in that regards. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I just like the fact that Vulture is like an older villain, because you don't get many older villains, dressing around and doing all the action. But yeah, I found it interesting. How about yourself? Did you like it, or is it a bit of a gimmick?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of a 90s gimmick, but I mean, like, it was kind of interesting because it kind of made the Vulture more of a threat and more, he could put the fear in the people more, just, because it's like, just old man swooping around on wings and training a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And he just inherently just sounds a lot more dangerous as a younger person, right? So yeah,
he's like a vampire, man. Interview with a Vampire was big in the 90s.
Yeah.
All right, so back to a flashback. Thanks to Ben Riley, Seward Trainer has been able to get his brand new lab up and running in record time. Seward is grateful and has been in desperate need of an assistant. He offers Ben the back room of his lab, although it is not much. Ben accepts it as he needs Seward's assistance. That's when he gets a warning that the main power core is experiencing an overload. When they rush into the next room, Seward discovers that the heat has fused the access hatch to the power core shut. With no time to lose, Ben uses his enhanced strength to rip the hatch off, revealing his powers to Seward. This comes as a shock, and Ben promises to explain himself to Trainer later. And back in the present, the Scarlet Spider wakes up from another period of unconsciousness and refuses to let anything happen to Seward, especially after everything that Trainer had done for him over the years. With the last of his strength, the spider rips free from his bonds and incapacitates his captor's minions. As he does so, his mind drifts back again a flashback. Although Ben manages to get to the computer core, the data is still at risk of exploding. As he tries to remove the hard drive, there is a small explosion that pins Ben with debris. Seward offers to pull Ben out, but with things about to become critical, he tells Seward to leave him. Trainer refuses and pulls Ben out. The pair manages to get out and seal off the computer core before it explodes. It will take time to rebuild from this disaster, but Seward is glad that they are both alive. Having determined that Ben is a good person, he decides to continue working with him, but has Ben promised not to pull a stunt like that again. Riley accepts Seward's offer and promises to not do something like this again. And back in the present, the Scarlet Spider thinks about his promise and how he refuses to let Seward down. As he fights through the complex, he runs into a number of octodrones. Spotting a drone camera, the Scarlet Spider realizes that this is the eyes and ears of his captor and destroys it, cutting off their ability to monitor his actions. As the spider fights through this current threat, Seward's cell continues to fill with water and time is running out. However, before Trainer can be completely submerged, the web slinger manages to get to him and free Seward from his cell. He pulls him out just like Seward pulled him out years ago.
Yeah, I like that.
In the aftermath of the battle, Seward asks how the Scarlet Spider managed to find him. Ben explains that he recognized that he was in Seward's old lab and that helped him locate where Seward was being held. When he asks who their mystery attacker was, Trainer says he doesn't know. Seward wants to go back to New York to make sure his files are still intact. When Ben offers to tag along, Seward reminds him that he wanted to get out of the city. Riley explains that while this is true, he also made a promise to never let Seward down. All right, Ray, what you think?
Yeah, this consolidated, I think, the relationship built on the last issue of Seward Trainer and the relationship with Ben Riley, and it culminated in of course, that situation where where Ben finds himself under the debris and Seward doesn't want to leave him. So that's the big kind of takeaway again. It's like, I'm not leaving you. It's just a show of kind of loyalty. And as you mentioned, I like it how it kind of it's mirrored later on where Ben pulls Seward out of the drowning kind of prison that he's in. A lot of Octo kind of bots in there, which is pretty cool. This issue, there's not like a real defined face to the villainy that you can kind of strike at and stuff. So it's a little bit here and there, but I think the fact that it goes consistently back from the past and the present, I think it still did that really well. And again, you get that sense and you build up that sense of that relationship between Ben and Seward. So that was really good. So if you look at like, if you take away all that past stuff and you look at just the present stuff, those panels and that story, nothing really much happens. Like Scarlet Spider just breaks free and he finds Seward at the end, right? And he fights just a lot of like droids, but that's about it. But if you put it together with the past and the relationship he has with Seward, I think it works really well. Again, the art is quite consistent. It's quite good. It's not terrible. I'd say it's probably might be the least favorite of mine, though. But that's not saying that it's bad. It's just, I really like the first and second issues of this arc. I can't remember the last one, so we'll have to. I might change my tune there. But yeah, no, really good. How about yourself?
I like the story. I like the flashbacks in both these issues, but it's like I think Mackie did it a little better this time. Just with the plot device of every time he passed out, he was remembering the past.
Yeah, that was very clean. The way to do that. If we are to nitpick and stuff, when Ben is kind of stuck down there with the debris, you could argue, is he really in trouble there? I mean, he ends up like Seward saying, I'm not leaving you. Well, like, good on you, Seward. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, Ben just jumps out of it. He gets an arm from Seward, but I think he could have gotten himself out of there. But that's, a very minor point. I think the idea is there, the idea of loyalty and friendship. and it's done really well. Yeah, it's paced really well, the whole issue. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the introduction of, I mean, of course, a little bit of an introduction to the Vulture as well, which is mainly the Spider-Man Unlimited, the last issue. So you kind of get some, you know, it all kind of overlaps in some way to each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So should we get to the Spider-Man Unlimited number 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
I like the cover, but that has nothing to do with the art on the inside. Yeah, Spider-Man Unlimited number 10, again, September 1995.
Huge issue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's like one story, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part. Writer Mike Lackey, penciler Sean McManus, Roy Burdine, inker John Nyberg and Sean McManus, colorist John
that links
and Malibu color, colorist John Calise, Malibu color, letterer Jim Novak, Chris Elapolis, editor Eric Feen and Danny Finger. Oh, okay. There's a lot of hands on this, but
there are, yeah.
But yeah, writer Mike Lackey and penciler Sean McManus. I mean, I think I've heard the names, but not a lot. It's, you know.
No, yeah. Sean McManus, mate. I can't, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I haven't seen them around lately.
Yeah, no. Even back then, I don't think I saw it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, just the art on these issues. I mean, I like the first two parts the best, but it's kind of like each part was pretty distinct in it. Especially these last two parts, it's like, man, they look very dissimilar from the first two parts.
Oh yeah. I'm just having a quick look now through the art just to reacquaint. It's not too bad, but yeah. No, but I'm with you. I definitely prefer, I think, the first two issues.
Yeah. I mean, this one is my least favorite art wise. I mean, it's not bad, but it's very different. All right, so the Scarlet Spider. Oh, it's the title, A Promise to Keep. The Scarlet Spider swings over Manhattan, thinking about how he wanted to leave this city, but events conspired to keep him here. After incidents involving his friend Sewer Trainer, he realizes he can't leave. Still, after discovering that he was the real Peter Parker after all, Ben decides that perhaps he and the Scarlet Spider are destined to stay in New York City after all. Elsewhere in the city, the Vulture soars over the city, considering his latest scheme. It's not ideal, but it is the best thing that he can do at this present time. Suddenly, the high-flying villain is racked with pain, and he begins to fall from the sky. Landing on top of a car parked on the street, the Vulture is thankful that his body armor took the brunt of the fall. That's when he notices that his hands are becoming twisted with arthritis. He then realizes, to his horror, that his newfound youth is fading away and he's becoming old again. This upsets the villain greatly, and he rants and raves over it until a shop owner comes out to see what all the commotion is about. Meanwhile, at the Mulligan home in Queens, young Jimmy Mulligan argues with his father, Colm, over his career prospects. Colm wants his son to go to school, however. Jimmy wants to go to work with a crook named Witten and make it rich. Jimmy points out that he makes more in a week than his father pulls in all month. Colm warns that Witten is looking for a fall person, but this falls on deaf ears. Having heard enough, young Jimmy leaves the dinner table and rushes up to his bedroom. At that same moment, the Scarlet Spider comes upon the scene where the Vulture crashed. There, the frightened shop owner tells him how the Vulture fell out of the sky and then took off again. Questioning the man's story because he is drunk, the wall crawler decides to buy a newspaper from his newsstand. Looking at the date on the Daily Bugle, he realizes that today is the anniversary of the death of his Uncle Ben. This fills the Spider with guilt, as his Aunt May taught him better. As he web slings towards Queens, he thinks about the tragic loss of his Uncle Ben. At that same moment, the Vulture interrupts a mugging in order to use his Juvenator device to steal the youth of the thief. However, it is enough to maintain his age. The Vulture also turns the device against the mugger's intended victim as well. Greedy.
What has he got? He's got like defibrillators or something.
I guess the device, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Because like when they first did it, I didn't think he had those, but I'm trying to remember. It's been a few weeks since I read this story. I think didn't he like he I don't know, did he soup up the device or upgrade it to because he's
I can't remember. Yeah. But it's still a good premise. I like it. I mean, before I forget as well, the one thing I guess is that with the new revamped Vulture costume, it looks very generic 90s costume. Like if it somehow, I don't know how they would have done it back in the 90s, if they kind of revamped it to look a bit more timeless. I know that's really a bit of a stretch. Then maybe the younger Vulture would have lasted a lot longer. But yeah, it looks very much a thing of its time.
Oh yeah, it's 90s armor all the way.
yeah, absolutely.
Later, Ben Reilly pays a visit to the grave of his uncle Ben and apologizes for not doing enough to stop his murder. His graveside vigil is interrupted when his spider sense begins going off. Ben then leaps up into a nearby tree and watches as Cole Mulligan comes up to Ben's grave to pay his respects. Cole must come to pay his respects because Ben Parker was always there for him and helped out when he could. With his current family problems, Cole wishes that he could be as great a man as Ben was. He recalls when they both worked in a textiles factory years earlier. He remembers one day in particular when one of their co-workers got his arm caught in one of the machines. Thanks to Ben's quick action, they helped free their colleague before he lost his arm. While on break, Cole confides in Ben, telling him that he feels life like he is wasting his life as he had children before getting an education and as a result is now stuck in this dead-end job. Parker reminds him that he does this job out of a greater sense of responsibility. Take a drink, Lilith. And that he does so for his family. He convinced Colm to pursue further education on top of his job. But despite Ben's sterling recommendations, Colm doesn't have the money to get into school. Realizing that this is keeping Colm from realizing his potential, Ben then gave Colm his paycheck as a loan to help him go back to school. Tragically, later that evening, Ben Parker was murdered in his own home. Just coincidentally, it was the same night. Yeah.
Poor bugger. Yeah, a lot happened
that night. Yeah, I know. Realizing that the Parkers needed the money more than he did, Colm never cashed the check. As a result, Colm remained in the same dead-end job, and now his son Jimmy is falling in with a bad crowd. See how much you could have accomplished, Peter, if you had just tripped that burglar.
My gosh, it was like a nexus of possibilities there.
Ben would be alive. Coleman would have gone back to college. Come on, Peter.
His son would have been on the straight and narrow, all that sort of stuff.
You didn't even have to take out that robber yourself. All you had to do was slow him down for that security guard.
Exactly.
Overhearing all this from the treetops, Ben begins to cry because he never realized that his uncle was charitable to those in need right to the very end of his life. Quickly changing out of his costume, Ben decides to approach Colm, introducing himself as Peter Parker, and offers to help Colm with his son Jimmy. At that same moment, Jimmy is at a meeting with Witten and his men. They plan on robbing an electronics factory to steal components that will make current technologies obsolete.
No more CDs.
I know. 95.
Yeah.
You're not these things called MP3s, eh?
Yeah, little did they know how correct they were. All right. Yeah.
When Witten orders them to kill anyone who interferes with them, Jimmy begins to have second thoughts, making Witten angry when his orders are questioned. With no other choice but to do as he is told, Jimmy finally starts to wonder what he has gotten himself involved in. Meanwhile, the Vulture arrives at Metro Electronics, intending to steal the same technology in order to stabilize the Juvenator harness that maintains his youth. He thinks about the troubles he has been having, recalling his recent arrest. When he suddenly became old, he took advantage of his transfer to the geriatric ward of the hospital for observation in order to assist.
Look how old he's old here. Jeez. All right. It just gives me new respect for the Vulture.
I love how he's like, I look so old. They didn't even notice when I slipped out.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter, his youth returned and he went about his business until his age began to fluctuate again. He wishes that Bestman Electronics had not gone bankrupt bankrupt, as it would have provided him with the technological means to fix his harness and avoid breaking in the Metro electronics. It's then that Witten and his men break into the warehouse to make their theft. However, when they attempt to murder the security guard, Jimmy protests. However, before they can harm the security guard, they are interrupted by the Vulture, who drains the youth of the gang members. As the guard and Jimmy cower in the corner of the guard station, the Vulture demands that they help him. Not far away, the Scarlet Spider webs up 2 members of Witten's gang who manage to escape and forces them to talk. Although the Scarlet Spider gets the drop on the Vulture, the villain manages to knock the web slinger aside and escape with the stolen equipment and the guard as a hostage. When the Spider follows after him, the Vulture drops his hostage, but they are saved thanks to the web spinner's quick action. After rescuing the guard, he is told how the Vulture... By rescuing the guard, he's told the Vulture has been stealing the youth of the gang members. Having spent his evening reading up on technical manuals and theorizing that the Vulture is stealing the electromagnetic fields around his victims' brains. Security guard tells him this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, hey. Oh, you're right here? Oh, yes, it's me, Officer Plot Device. Let me tell you how...
I happen to just notice a lot of these things when I'm at work, you know? Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to read these books, but I just read these books and understand everything. I mean, I'm not saying security guards can't be smart enough, but it's just kind of like easy to. It's just like, here, let me give you all the answers.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jimmy returns with Witten and tells him what happened. The boy also tells the thief that he quits as he didn't sign up to commit murder. In response, Witten beats the boy within an inch of his life and drops him off at home. Seeing the state of his son, the state his son is in, Cole Mulligan rushes the boy to the emergency room for immediate medical attention. Forced to wait for tests to learn of Jimmy's condition, Cole decides to pay Witten a visit and pay him back for what he's done to Jimmy. By this time, the Scarlet Spider calls the Mulligan household and learns what happened to Jimmy and what his father is going. Learns that his father is going to get revenge against Witten. Meanwhile, Cole busts in on Witten and discovers that his office was just hit by the Vulture, with Witten the only survivor. At first, Cole is willing to murder Witten for what he has done, but he has second thoughts. Deciding murder wasn't worth throwing his life away, after Cole drops the gun, Witten tries to grab it, but the Scarlet Spider arrives and webs it to the floor. He then webs the crook up and tells Cole to go and be there for his son. At that moment, Spider-Man is swinging back home after doing some grocery shopping. Big adventures. He is suddenly struck with a vision of Mary Jane being murdered and fears for her safety and that of her unborn child. When the vision...
Sorry.
No, what were we going to say?
I was about to say, like, is this the first time? Like, wasn't Kane the one that usually saw these things? Yeah.
Ray. Told you next month, kid. It's coming. Gonna get your answers.
Oh my gosh. Peter Parker is Kane. No, that can't be that. No.
Remember, kid, when the dream ends, the nightmare begins.
Oh, that's right. You said remember that. Yeah.
When the vision finally subsides, Spider-Man decides to rush back home and make sure Mary Jane is safe and try to figure out what these visions mean.
He lost all his groceries as well.
I know.
That was a wasted effort.
You're really going to go home to your pregnant wife with no food? Come on.
Especially if she had cravings. Come on.
Oh my God. Look at Russell. He's deducing it like Batman.
Hey, bit of detective work.
I guess, yeah. You know, I know, like Batman.
I love Batman.
That wasn't me. I deny it. I can confirm.
Where's the Joker nuggets?
But yeah, a big issue, right? Like there's.
Oh yeah, we're not even done yet. I know.
My God. Were you thrown at all by because it had the flashback pencils were someone different, and looking at it while you're going through the synopsis, it certainly was, but I thought that was okay. I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
some of the art was, I think a little. Like some of the faces were a little bit inconsistent. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's just that they look different.
They're just very cartoony. It's
but if that was the style, then just do that whole thing, the whole comic like that. You know what I mean? But there were some panels where the faces were reduced to very cartoony. But there's so much kind of happening here. I love the introduction of the Mulligans because it ties in with Ben Parker. There's a journey itself on little. Was it? I forgot his name again. Bill? Is it the little kid? Bill. The son of Colm.
Is it Jimmy?
Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy. So there's that cool thing as well. I really like the fact that he was very kind of argumentative against his father, but then once he goes to that meeting with the criminals, immediately it's like, oh no, I can't do this. No, I can't. This is terrible. And he kind of spirals down. I like that story. I like the integration of the Vulture coming in because he actually crosses paths with the Mulligans and Witten and stuff. So that's really cool. But I mean, this really could be like a of its own. Like it didn't seem like a part 4 of 4 at all. There was no real connection. But
that's like I don't know if they were trying to sell Spider-Man Unlimited, or I don't know if like during the Clone Saga they like doing arcs because I mean they did do more. But it's like, like the first part and this last part, I mean, that's what I said. They seem like they could almost be their own things. They didn't have to be part of the storyline. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's a marketing thing. Like you're obligated as a fan to get all the 4 parts, and exactly. And whether or not they actually tie in as an arc, who cares? I mean, like if we put them as a 4-parter, then collectors will want to get all the 4 parts. So yeah.
And again, even that first part, it's like the only way it like really fits in with parts 2 and 3 is that's when Ben decides to leave New York.
Yeah. Well, that had the big moment, and the big decision. But it had nothing to do with Sewer Trainer or anything like that. But a little bit, as you say, of him getting out and finding the cabin and stuff. But very tenuous connection to the others. And then you have the Vulture just kind of sprinkled in towards the end, and there he comes. I'm kind of glad as well because when we saw him and the Sinister Six earlier on, I didn't know too much about this revamped young Vulture, so it was good to actually learn a bit more, and him kind of sucking the life force. But it's some of the as I said, the art was inconsistent, but I don't know. When I was reading this, for me, it was just in my head. It was cool getting some really tried and true adventures of Ben Reilly of Scarlet Spider.
Oh yeah,
I kind of enjoyed it for that.
And the good news, Lilith, I just got Ray saying sucking life force, so you're welcome. But it, like you were saying with the art, like with the sometimes the faces went very cartoony. Yeah, I mean that's kind of why this was like the weakest I thought out of these 4 art wise for me. And I'm wondering if part of that too is like I said, I haven't heard a lot from this artist. I don't know if he was like a newer artist. Yeah. And they throw him into the deep end because I mean, this Scarlet Spider Unlimited is how many pages and like his issues. They did like a main story and backup stories. This whole thing is one story.
Yeah. So exactly.
This newer guy be like, oh yeah, you got like what is this like 64 pages or something? They're like, oh yeah, you're on the whole thing.
Well, I mean, there's the flashback pencils as someone else, right?
Oh, yeah, But most of them,
I mean, it's still more than a regular issue. If you take away, I think it's on here on Marvel Unlimited, I've got 52 pages.
Oh yeah.
But if you take away the flashbacks, it's still more than 30. I'm sure. It's a substantial. Substantial size. There you go. There's another drop. But it was good. I enjoyed it overall. I mean, all Exiled. I'm actually even thinking the title of it, Exiled. Is that even apt at all?
Well, he was gonna exile himself for like what, an issue?
Self-imposed exile. But this art was good. Again, it was a lot more enjoyable than some of the others that we've read, I think. But yeah, and a little bit more consistent art. But yeah, the first two were definitely my favorites.
Oh yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. At that moment, the Scarlet Spider has tracked down the Vulture and forces him to the ground. As the two fight it out, the web slinger manages to rip off one of the Vulture's wings. Despite this, the Vulture manages to grab the Scarlet Spider and tries to use his newly built device to drain him of his youth. This has no effect on the web wall crawler, much to the Vulture's surprise. The Scarlet Spider then webs the Vulture to the wall and then crushes the devices. When the Vulture demands to know how the Scarlet Spider counteracted the devices, the web slinger declines to explain and leaves him for the authorities. As the police take the Vulture into custody, the Scarlet Spider watches from the rooftop across the street. He is relieved that the vest he rigged up to negate the effects of the Vulture's device had worked. With the danger over, the Spider changes back into Ben Reilly and checks in on the Mulligans. He is delighted to hear that Jimmy is going to recover and decide to enroll at Empire State University, like his father wished. When invited in for dinner, Peter Parker, quote-unquote, declines, telling them that he has to get to work. As he walks away, Cole Mulligan and his wife remark about how responsible Peter is and believe that his Uncle Ben would be proud of the man he has become. Okay. That vest, so he only had a vest on to protect himself from the Vulture. So if the Vulture had grabbed his head, his arm, something.
Yeah. Oh, look, MVP, the Night Watchman there, he gave Ben all the ideas. Yeah, that was a little bit of a weak thing, but I guess it was addressed. It was explained. Like, how did he kind of factor again? He's got this vest, this insulated vest. I didn't dwell too much on it, but you
really need that guard to explain everything to Ben, because I mean, Ben's as smart as Peter. Couldn't Ben?
Yep.
I mean, shouldn't we have been like, oh hey, remember guys, this guy?
Yeah, he's smart. Yeah, he made the impact webbing, right, and the stingers. Yeah. So that's pretty. Yeah, exactly. Not some Joe Blow, but the fight with Vulture was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. We get to see a bit more. Shows Vulture as being at least formidable in some sense. But yeah, I also like the fact that Ben Reilly ripped one of the wings off as well, because realistically, that sort of stuff would happen, and it was good that they addressed that.
So did you like this story? I know you've been craving more Ben Reilly, so I mean, this is except for that first issue, this is basically Ben's show this month.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I'm really interested in the earlier appearances and stories of Ben Reilly, and this was really cool. I mean, it was a massive issue, a lot of stuff happening, but you get a lot of facets of him as well. Like you get him as Scarlet Spider, but you get him interacting with the Mulligans as well. Really cool stuff. You get a classic villain in the Vulture, so there's a bit of credit kind of like thrown in that way, because it's like a real Spidey villain. It was enjoyable. I really did like it, and you only get that one page of real Peter Parker with that weird kind of Spider Sense precog stuff. As you said, essentially all Scarlet Spider. Really cool. I mean, he tussles. Not only that, he actually he comes up against Witten as well. So all the bad people in this issue, he kind of goes face to face with.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it was really good. Did you want to give this a grade or a mark? As you say,
shall we give all as a whole? As you mean the 4-parter?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah.
4-parter, I would give it I'd give it maybe a B minus, say. It's a little bit above average for me, which is cool. I mean, it's not stellar. If anything, a lot of it, the art in the first two, again, really, really nice to look at. But there was enough in the stories as well. I mean, the way Howard Mackie handled the past and present in part 3, I think even Lackey here, Mike Lackey, did this. It's a big story, a cast of thousands as well. He's done really well. And then also integrating in parts 2 and 3, as you mentioned, Phil, the Seward trainer relationship with Ben Reilly was really good. And at the very first part, as we said, that big moment where Peter Parker and Ben Reilly decide what they're going to do, it has a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of meat. So a B minus, only because, I don't know. A lot of these, I mean, they're not like, top quality, memorable arcs, right?
Yeah.
But they're fun. They're good. So yeah.
I mean, at least you got some of the backstory with Ben and Seward. I mean, that's at least something, and it's like
that's a payoff. Yeah, that's a payoff.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of the B territory. It might be a B minus, like you said, just because. I mean, I'm not a fan of that art and that Spider-Man Unlimited. That
fair enough.
Down. I mean, I think that story could have been even greater if the art had been a little better. Yeah.
Have you got that as floppy?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah. No, true, exactly. If the art had changed, was someone else potentially, I didn't mind the art too much, but I can definitely see your point there. Yeah.
All right, so here I got a quick, looks like a little over a minute voicemail from Russell. So,
all
right, let's see. It's been a while since I've done an actual voicemail. All right, there we go.
Arg, it is I, that charcoaler. No charcoaler today. Ray's already had enough trouble with all the pits in his house. Anyway, I just wanted to call in and just say that I think this era of Spider-Man, while it's not far from perfect and definitely has some major problems, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And I gotta give them credit for, trying something a little bit different. No goblins, mostly. No symbiotes, mostly. And no Doc Ock, mostly. So, yeah, I gotta give them credit for doing something a little bit different. Anyway, just thought I'd call in and let you all hear some of my thoughts. Keep on being Spider Pimps, and all the best to Matt Kona and his bride, or his soon-to-be baby. So catch y'all later.
Catch ya, Russell.
Catch ya. Cool, thanks, Russell. Yeah, it's good. I think Russell epitomizes it in the fact that it's nothing stellar, but it really is not that. I mean, I've heard some really terrible things about it. Like even when we spoke to Howard Mackey and Terry Kavanagh, their reaction was, it's Howard's fault, and it's Terry's fault. It's but it's not that bad. Like really, I mean, I was listening to, if I can say, this was a few years ago, This Week in Marvel, with Agent M and stuff, and they had Ben Morse. He was one of the old hosts, and they were just going to town on Clone Saga, saying how bad it was. And I don't think it's that bad. I mean, the stories aren't, you're not looking at top tier, unforgettable, memorable stories, but there are some really good things in there. There's some solid bit of writing, structure wise and art wise as well. There's some good stuff.
I mean, I don't know if you have to be of a certain age, because I know Lilith never wants to touch the Clone Saga, but it's like, I know you didn't read these first times around, but you were reading Marvel Comics in this era, so I don't know if you kind of...
Yeah. Well, that might have prepared me a little, I guess, of, just locking into this style of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is very, a lot of parts, it is very 90s and all that. But yeah, it's okay. It's good. Yeah. It's something worthy of collecting, I think, getting a collection of.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has, like, a lot of people, there's one person I remember saying, they're still trying to fix the mess that the Clone Saga had inflicted in Spidey canon to this day. Well, yeah, fair enough. But like in that instance as well, it's an important part of Spider-Man's history. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So we get out of here so you can get to bed.
Let's do it.
All right. So next week, Lilith is back, and we switched up a little bit to make sure the crossover works. So next week, part 1 of Atlantis Attacks from Amazing.
Ooh, yeah.
3. That's
nice.
Right. Then the week after that, Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 9, more Atlantis Attacks. Then the crossover goes over to The Devil You Know, the Daredevil podcast for the Daredevil Annual. And then back here for Web of Spider-Man Annual number 5. So, yes. It's all the 3 Spider-Man annuals and the Daredevil annual.
That's awesome. That Daredevil annual I love. I remember very fond memories of picking up a copy and stuff. And also, just quietly, I'm very jealous of Will Allred. I know he mentioned he has the Atlantis Attacks omnibus on his shelf somewhere.
Oh my God! On the on Tuesday when we recorded the latest episode of the Green Lantern podcast, he's like, look what I got. So it was like another like big omnibus. We're like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's the like collection of the official handbook in the Marvel universe.
Yes, I saw he posted that up. He got it for his birthday or something from his family.
Yeah,
and I was like, there's no better gift that his family could have given him. And that's also, I've seen that in the shop. It's a deluxe edition of the Marvel universe, and it is thick.
Oh yeah, and it's like hardcover. Oh
yeah. I want it as well. It looks so good. Yeah,
because he used to. I guess he read it as a kid. He's like, that's why my eyes were so bad.
Yeah, exactly. That font was small, like in those prints. It was terrible.
But yeah, I guess like his birthday, what was it, in December? I guess it was just available for pre-order. So I guess he like just got it.
Yeah. But I'm sure he's pouring over it now.
Oh,
Turn of Century probably gets a big viewing.
Exactly. But yes, after the Atlantis Attacks, we have another week where Lilith and I are gonna do Amazing Spider-Man 247 and 248, Spider-Man vs. Thunderball. And then there's that classic backup story, The Kid Who Collected Spider-Man.
Oh, geez, I gotta read up on that as well.
Yeah, it's good. And then in 1 month, that's right, kids, Spectacular Spider-Man 228 and Web of Spider-Man 129. Time Bomb. Get all our answers behind those visions.
Oh, Time Bomb. I love it. Cool.
All right. So, yes, lots of good stuff coming up, including that Atlantis Attacks crossover, man. It's nuts.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
All right, kids. So, yes, send your thoughts on all of that goodness. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to follow The Ultimate Spider-Cast on Facebook, Twitter. You can find links to all of the various social medias for all of our shows. Links to this YouTube channel. Have you been curious what that mysterious Australian looks like? Yes. So please subscribe to the YouTube. Go subscribe to the Patreon. Again, more stuff coming. We're adding more and more. Rated R movie reviews. Lilith and I just did Uncensored Wade's World. We also did episode 2 of Boob Windows and Long Boxes yesterday, also about the 90s Invisible Woman,
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, and then just wait, we're going to be having some live reads coming up too, because Lilith Hellfire and I are talking about doing some parodies, superhero cribs. Superheroes showing you around their headquarters and stuff. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Lilith is writing up scripts, and I think I also convinced her. I think we might do some live reads eventually of some of her fan fiction.
Oh,
Lilith Hellfire fan fiction.
Bring it on.
Yes. So yeah, get on the bandwagon for Patreon and find the link for the merch. Links to everything all at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And please remember to support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio and Hunt a Killer. Use the code Southgate for both of those for a discount.
Yeah.
And also pick up Pod Life, the book, now in digital and paperback. Audio version coming soon. Learn the ins and outs of podcasting from the experts and Rob Southgate. But you can get that on Amazon and more. When you do, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, the network, and that man sucking the youth out of everyone he can, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom.
Why did your eye drift over to my box? Mark my words.
All right, Mr. Ray, I hear you do a podcast or two. What are they? Where can people find them?
Oh, yes. Look, the best way to contact me is via Twitter at RayRayPod, REYREY pod. That covers just, everything that I do for Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. Also, To Know Her is to Fear Her, the Spider-Woman podcast, and Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. So do a few things. Love the character-based podcasts, but they all have their own Twitter handles and Facebook and social media stuff. But if you just want to have a chat with me, it's at RayRayPod. That's the best way. And anything. I don't know, not kaiju. I'm really getting into King Kong and all that. That's good. So, yeah, if you're a Valiant fan. Sorry?
You're getting into Invincible now?
Invincible. Oh, gosh, yeah. So just finished that season. Love. Are you watching The Bad Batch?
I haven't yet. I keep meaning to, but I haven't yet.
Okay. That might have to be on the list as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, look forward to it. Yeah.
Whoa, that's pretty damn big.
Yes. So Ray loves to talk to the fans. So yes, please get it with him on social media and give him the hard questions because
Ray likes it hard and Ray likes it long.
Oh, jeez. Don't know how I feel about hearing that from Lilith.
Hey, someone to pay good money for that in Florida.
That's for that night episode, man.
Gotta make room. You don't want to know at the camera.
Oh, sugar. She's got her own library of drops these days.
Oh, I'm on page 2 of the drops, man.
Yeah.
I think one of these pages hold like 80 drops or something. Yeah, I'm on page 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy.
He has much to say.
Make sure to use Noel's one a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I'm going to use that a lot. Plus, I need more from him. So,
Does boobs scare me?
Look at that black cat art.
Does boobs scare me?
All right, kids. Thank you, Ray Pod, and
no worries. Always fun.
Russell
Chad.
That's right. Russell. Oh, we were going to do Predator. Yeah, I know. That's damn long.
No.
So
I might still be Russell. Yeah.
Join us next time. Swing on back.
Rip.